Hey guys, what's going on? It's David here from Scizorxphlosion, coming at you guys with another deck profile. This time it is Malamar Giratina. Yes guys, this is the Giratina from the new set Lost Thunder, and it's got some awesome things at its disposal. It's got its amazing ability Distortion Door, it's good attack and Shadow Impact, and 130 HP to boot. It is a Psychic type that is weak to Dark. That kind of sucks, but hey, you can't have everything you want. But Giratina has a lot of awesome tools in this deck that help it spread damage and hit some of those 1 to 2 shots on your opponent. So y'all be sure to leave a like down below if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment and all that good stuff. Y'all be sure to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Scizorxphlosion, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Scizorxphlosion. And without further ado, guys, let's get on to Malamar Giratina. So to start off, guys, we got 4 copies of Inkay. Of course, we need the 4 copies of Inkay in order to go along with our 4 copies of Malamar. Malamar is probably your main support Pokemon in this deck with its Psychic Recharge ability. Once during your turn, you can attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to one of your benched Pokemon. Really awesome ability, helps you get a Pokemon like Giratina able to attack in 1 turn as long as you have 2 Malamars set up and an energy in hand, or 1 already attached. Something like that. We play 4 because we want to get them out as soon as possible, by the way. And then on to the main attacker, guys. 2 copies of Giratina. Oh, excuse me. We have 2 copies of Giratina just because it has this awesome ability called Distortion Door. Distortion Door says, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it onto the bench. And if you do, put 1 damage counter on 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Really awesome. So what I like to do when I'm playing this deck is discard it with something like Ultra Ball or Mysterious Treasure if I have it in my first hand. Get into the discard pile, then whenever I'm ready to throw it on the bench, once my opponent has a couple bench Pokemon down, use Distortion Door, revive it from the discard pile, put it onto the bench, and then get those damage counters started going. And then, once Giratina gets knocked out, he just comes right back. And as long as you have Malamars out, you'll be able to recharge your Giratina and get him ready to attack once again. Really, really cool. Then he's got this attack called Shadow Impact. It's good and it's bad. It's got a 2 Psychic and a colorless cost for the attack. 130 damage, which is nice. But its effect says you put 4 damage counters on 1 of your Pokemon. This is good and bad for a couple of reasons. It's bad because it places damage counters on your Pokemon, obviously. But it's good because you can stack these damage counters on Giratina, making them easier for your opponent to knock out, and then activate your cards like Spell Tag, which is an essential card in this deck. So yeah, Giratina is pretty awesome. He's got that nice fighting resistance, a darkness weakness, which is pretty bad. But hey, we can't have everything we want, guys. On to the next Pokemon. I play 2 copies of Tapu Koko in here. Tapu Koko is good with that flying flip attack in order to spread some damage on your opponent's Pokemon in the early game. Also, you've got free retreat, so if you need to Guzma into something, you bring up your Tapu Koko, retreat back into your Giratina, something like that. Tapu Koko has a lot of uses in these spread decks for those reasons. We play 1 copy of Oranguru with the Instruct ability. Once during your turn before you attack, you may draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. Really great in these decks that do not play Tapu Lele. No Tapu Lele in this deck. We do have a couple copies of Shrine in here, so we have no GXs at all in here, and I haven't found any problem with that. 1 copy of Larvitar. This is a new Larvitar from this set, Lost Thunder. It has this awesome attack called Second Strike, which does 10 damage plus. If your opponent's active Pokemon has 3 or more damage counters on it already, it does 70 more damage. So you can hit for 80 damage for a double colorless energy. We don't play double colorless in this deck, but we do have Malamar, so we're able to attach from hand, use Psychic Recharge, bring this Larvitar up, and attack for 80 damage. Really good, too, against those Zoroarks. It can hit 160 damage, and if you already have some damage spread with your spell tags, then those Zoroarks should be going down pretty easily. And the last Pokemon we play, guys, is 1 copy of Marshadow with that Let Loose ability. Just really good. We do play Mysterious Treasure in this deck, so we have really easy access to Marshadow. And if we have a free bench spot, hey, why not Marshadow your opponent and put them at a disadvantage? You could possibly put yourself at a disadvantage too, but maybe not. But that's it for the Pokemon, guys. 4 copies of Cynthia to start off the supporters, your basic draw supporter for any deck. Shuffle your hand to your deck and draw 6 cards. We've got 4 copies of Lily here, another good draw supporter in the game. That's probably one of your best first turns if you are able to draw it in your hand. You draw cards. Draw cards until you have 6 in your hand, but it's your first turn, you get to draw till you have 8. It's really good with this deck too because you're able to discard a lot of cards in your hand. You do have Mysterious Treasure and Ultra Ball at your disposal, plus a lot of Pokemon tools in your deck too. So it's pretty easy to empty your hand. 3 copies of Guzma to target down those Pokemon we want to take down. Giratina also does have a 3 retreat cost, so Guzma can be good for getting him out of the active and Psychic recharging onto him if need be. And the last supporter we are trying out in here, guys, is 2 copies of Sightseer. I really do like Sightseer in these Malamar decks just because it acts as a pseudo Professor Sycamore. You're still able to get all your energies to the discard pile if you need to, and also draw up to 5 cards. Pretty awesome. And that's it for the supporters, guys. On to the items. We're going to 4 copies of Ultra Ball, your standard search for any Pokemon deck. Discard 2 cards from your hand, and then search deck for a Pokemon and add it to your hand. Really good, too, for getting those Psychic Energies to the discard pile. We do need those. And those Giratinas to the discard pile as well. Another card that's good for that is 4 copies of Mysterious Treasure. Nearly every Pokemon in this deck that is important is a Psychic-type Pokemon. And like your Malamars, your Inkays, your Giratinas, and your Marshadow is also a Psychic-type. So Mysterious Treasure is really good for getting all those out, plus getting your energies to the discard pile. Speaking of energies to the discard pile, we got 4 copies of Acrobike. Acrobike is awesome in these decks that play high counts of energy and just want to go through the deck as quickly as possible in order to get those cards in our hands that we need. You get to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of those cards into your hand, but discard the other. I love Acrobikes where you get like Psychic Energy and something useful. So you can just discard that Psychic Energy and get the useful card to your hand. Another new addition to this deck, guys, is 4 copies of Spell Tag. Spell Tag is a new Pokemon tool from the Lost Thunder set. And it says, when the Psychic Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, put 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. It may not seem like a lot, but these damage counters can add up, guys. And it has to be knocked out by damage from your opponent's attack, so you can't use Giratina's ability to stack, Giratina's Shadow Impact attack to stack damage counters on himself till he's knocked out. It doesn't work that way. You have to be knocked out by your opponent's own attack. So, anyway, you attach the Spell Tag, and it gives you a fail-safe against your opponent's attacks. If they knock you out, they're going to take 4 damage counters somewhere on their board. And then you also combine that with Giratina's Distortion Door ability, which also adds an additional damage counter on your opponent's Pokemon. So yeah, eventually all this damage is going to add up very quickly, and that makes it so Giratina has the ability to knock things out a lot easier. Another Pokemon tool we play, guys, is 2 copies of Escape Board. Escape Board just lowers the retreat cost of some of your Pokemon by 1 colorless energy, and they can also retreat while they are paralyzed or asleep. I play these because Marshadow has 1 retreat cost, Larvitar has a 1 retreat cost, and also your Inkays, if you haven't gotten them evolved yet, have a 1 retreat cost. So Escape Board is really good for getting those Pokemon out of the active and getting your Giratina in there and attacking. Also getting your Tapu Kokos into the active as well. To end off the items, guys, 2 copies of Rescue Stretcher, just because we need those Pokemon back. We need to get those Malamars back into play. If they get knocked out early game, your opponent could target down those Malamars and take them down pretty easily. Maybe you discard something like Marshadow for Mysterious Treasure or Ultra Ball. You can get that Marshadow back with your Rescue Stretcher. You can search your deck, or that's not what it does. You can choose one, put a Pokemon from discard pile into your hand, or shuffle 3 Pokemon from discard pile into the deck. 1 stadium we play, guys, 2 copies of Shrine of Punishment. We don't play the full 4 in here. I don't feel like you need it, just because you're spreading a whole bunch of damage already with your Shrine of not Shrine of Punishments, your Spell Tags. You're spreading a lot of damage already with your Spell Tags and your Giratina's ability. So Shrine of Punishment is there just to add a little extra oomph if you need it. Between turns, each player takes 1 damage counter on each of their EX and GX Pokemon. And to end off the deck, guys, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 copies of basic Psychic Energy. And that is it for the deck, guys. I really like this deck. I've tested it out a lot. I really feel it's very consistent. You're able to get all the cards that you need into your hand very quickly. With it not having Tapu Lele, every now and then you can clog a little bit. But hey, that's sometimes the case with some of these decks that aren't as consistent as some of the other decks. But For being what it is, you do have access to Ultra Ball. You do have access to Mysterious Treasure. You also have access to Acrobike. So a lot of the times, I mean, that's 12 cards just there that helps you get more consistency out of your deck. You also do have the 8 cards in the form of 4 Cynthia and 4 Lily. And the 2 Sightseers. So, I mean, you have a lot of things to boost your consistency in this deck, regardless of not playing Lele. I really like this deck. I think it's really strong. I think it does have a good chance in the meta as being one of those popular Shrine decks, but we'll have to wait and see what the future holds. I know we've already had the results for the was it South American? No, it wasn't South American. It was the International in Sao Paulo. And I didn't see any Giratina Malamar in the top cut. But we are going to get on to some of those decks that were in the top cut there. My boy Bicefalon got 7th place. Heck yes. And even Rayquaza is making a good showing there. He made 9th place, I believe. But more on that later, guys. I'm going to make a video about that tournament. And I'll have that up for you guys in a couple days. But y'all be sure and leave a like and a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this deck. Do you think Giratina has a chance in the meta? Do you think it's just a bust deck? Maybe it just performed well one time in Japan and everybody's still hyped up about it? Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment down below. And this is David from Scizorxphlosion, and we will catch you guys all next time.